Each find of archaeologists is unique. It may be an artifact that has been studied for years. Archaeologists find finds such as coins all over the world, and they are similar to each other. But sometimes archaeologists manage to find a find that happens only once in history. About such finds and not only, see in this video. Hi friend, you're on the KirTop channel. New artifacts of pre-Columbian America. South America is an amazing continent with a lot of history yet to be discovered. Peru, after Egypt, is one of the most interesting countries in the world in terms of studying the history of ancient civilizations. The Chavintehuantar complex, located at an altitude of 3,180 meters in the Peruvian Andes, consists of several platforms made of stone blocks with different reliefs and buildings adjacent to them. The buildings are divided among themselves by several squares. To date, archaeologists have 15 phases in the history of the creation of the complex. At the same time, the earliest buildings date back to approximately 1200 BC. After 500 BC, Chavintehuantar fell into disrepair. The Chavintehuantar complex includes a huge network of stone-lined corridors, staircases, and rooms, including underground ones. The buildings are interconnected by a system of ventilation and drainage channels. Since 2008, Chavintehuantar has been working on creating a three-dimensional digital model of the facility using laser scanning technology and acoustic studies of the interior. In 2018, remotely controlled mobile cameras were involved in the study of the ruins of the archaeological complex, thanks to which almost 30 more new tunnels and several human burials were found. And in 2019, when using one of these cameras, a previously unknown room with an unidentifiable artifact was discovered. Archaeologists were able to get into the chamber itself only in 2022. The artifact turned out to be a carved stone bowl weighing 17 kilograms. The bowl is made in the shape of a condor, so the artifact adorns the head of a bird, its wings, and tail. The age of the Condor Gallery is about 3,000 years, and the building under which it is located was built at the very first stages of the formation of Chavintehuantar. Statues of High Priest Imephor. Experts completed work on the necropolis of Kamasen necropolis, where the mastaba tomb of Imephor Impin Nikapata, the high priest of the god Ptah, the main deity of Memphis, the capital of the country during the Old Kingdom and the first intermediate period of ancient Egyptian history, is located. The most important and surprising find of this year was a hoard of more than 100 figurines of Imephor with the full name of the priest engraved on the right hand. This is an unprecedented type of funerary figurine, each unique in form and concept, ranging in size from 15 to 30 centimeters. 38 blocks of fragments of blocks with inscriptions and reliefs from the ceiling of the burial chamber were also recovered from the Imephor mastaba. These fragments, inscribed with two parallel strips of hieroglyphic text with the names and titles of the priests, make it possible to reconstruct almost completely the ceiling of the chamber and finally fix the content of the inscription. Mysterious golden plate. During plumbing work near the village of Rinilarek on the island of Java, workers accidentally discovered a stone chest. Inside were kept 22 small plates of pure gold. The stone vault, 15 by 13.5 by 6 centimeters, was completely intact. Inside were plates of gold, 18-karat purity. Each plate is engraved with an inscription in the ancient language of the inhabitants of Java. Scientists have established that the names of locapels are written on the plates, the divine guardians of the cardinal points in Hinduism and Tantric Buddhism. There are 8 such deities in Buddhism. On the island of Java, in addition, the patron of the center of everything was revered, and altogether the deities were called Devati Navasanga, 9 divine guardians. Low-couple statues can often be found in Indonesia. They were also depicted on the emblem of the Majapahit Empire, which existed from 1293 to 1520 AD. At that time, low-couples were especially revered on the island of Java. They found gold basalt plates, according to scientists, were created earlier than the Majapahit Empire. Thus, they are confirmation that the ancient Javanese worshipped the guardians of the cardinal directions over 1,000 years ago. Coin with the image of the goddess of the moon. At the bottom of the sea of the coast during underwater work, Israeli archaeologists found a coin which is about 1,850 years old. A bronze coin in very good condition was found at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea near the beach near Haifa. It depicts the goddess Moon. She personifies the planet satellite of the same name, as well as the zodiac sign, Cancer. The artifact probably belongs to a series of 13 coins, 12 of which correspond to the signs of the zodiac, the latter with a full zodiac wheel. Scientists believe that the coinage was in Egyptian Alexandria, and on the found coin there is an inscription, the 8th year. This corresponds to the reign of Emperor Antonius Pius, who led the Roman Empire from 138 to 161 AD. Such finds, which have lain at the bottom for hundreds of years, speak of close ties between ports in ancient times. Ghostly traces of ancient people. Archaeologists have discovered many mysterious ghost footprints in the Great Salt Lake Desert of Utah. According to scientists, the tracks are visible only after rain. They are filled with moisture and become darker. After drying, they disappear again. Initially, the team found only a few traces in July this year. After a thorough inspection of the surrounding area using GPR, at least 88 footprints were identified, belonging to adults and children under 5 years old. Ghost prints were left at least 10,000 years ago when the area was a vast wetland. However, researchers suspect that the footprints could have been left 12,000 years ago during the last ice age. People seemed to be walking in shallow water, and the sand quickly filled their tracks, but there was a layer of dirt underneath the sand which kept the print intact after being filled. Less than 2 kilometers from where the footprints were found, a previous research team found a hunter-gatherer camp dating back 12,000 years ago that could have been inhabited by the people who left the footprints, the scientists said. Ring with the image of Pallas Athena. An unusual ring with the image of the Greek goddess Pallas Athena became an accidental find of archaeologists during the study of the ancient Russian settlement of the 14th century at the Sabino II site near the Kulikovo field. A ring of quality casting and amazing preservation. On the upper platform there is a figure of a woman in drapery. Her head is protected by a helmet. In her left hand she holds a spear. At the feet on the left is a massive shield with the image of the Gorgon Medusa. On the right is a snake. Behind the back are powerful wings that can symbolize the goddess Nike. All these attributes are obligatory for the image of Pallas Athena, a warrior maiden, a representative of the highest world all-conquering power, one of the most revered goddesses of ancient Greece. She was one of the 12 great Olympic gods and was revered as the goddess of knowledge, arts and crafts, the patroness of cities and states, sciences and craftsmanship, intelligence, skill, ingenuity. According to him, the decoration, although found in the field, is clearly not peasant. In the 19th century, the territory where the excavations are now taking place belonged to the Princess Golitzin. According to the scientists, a representative of the princely family could have dropped this ring. Today, scientists are looking for analogues of an unusual find. Its study will be continued in the future. Ancient funeral wagon. This incredibly well-preserved 4,000-year-old wagon, made of oak, was discovered in the village of El Chashin near Lake Sevan in Armenia. It is the oldest known wagon in the world and is currently on display at the History Museum of Armenia in Yerevan. This wagon was built by the El Chashin Matsamar culture, aka Etyuni. It is generally believed that they were Indo-Europeans and most likely spoke a Proto-Armenian language. The oldest winery, the oldest leather shoes, the oldest straw skirt, the oldest human brain, and the oldest wagon have all been found in Armenia. If you look at the biblical maps, Armenia is the place where the Garden of Eden was, and Eden is the place where Adam and Eve were created, hence the birthplace of mankind. Perhaps Armenia is the place where humanity was born and reborn. He still seems alive. On May 8, 1950, peat miners discovered a corpse in the Bjelskovdal peat bog in Denmark that looked so fresh that at first the workers thought it was a recent murder victim. The man was lying at a depth of 2.5 meters in the fetal position. On the head, there was a pointed sheepskin hat with fur inside, held by a strap under the chin. A leather belt was tied around the waist. Other clothes were missing, they probably decayed. Short hair was almost completely hidden under the cap, and the stubble on the chin testified that the man had not shaved on the day of his death. Around the mummy's neck was a tightly tied noose of woven leather. According to radiocarbon analysis, the man died around 375–210 BC. Based on the amount of strontium isotopes in his hair, this man spent the last year in Denmark, but in the last 6 months, he traveled at least 20 miles. An X-ray showed that the man's head was intact, but his heart, lungs, and liver were well preserved. The man from Tolland died at the age of 40. His height was about 1.61 meters. Investigators concluded that the man died by hanging, not strangulation. However, researchers disagree on whether the man was executed or sacrificed. Body position and the fact that the eyes and mouth of the deceased are closed testify against execution. The last food of the Tollund man is a porridge made from cultivated and wild seeds, including barley and flax. The man last ate at least 12 hours before his death. The body is on display at the Silkeborg Museum in Denmark. Facial reconstruction by French criminologist Philippe Froche. House of Pompeii's poor people. Archaeologists have explored a house in Pompeii where they discovered a small sanctuary, lararium, 4 years ago. Inside it, they managed to unearth several rooms that contained ceramic, glass, and bronze utensils and other household items, the remains of furniture including a bed, a table, chest, and cabinets. Apparently, representatives of not the most wealthy segments of the population lived in this house. Archaeologists continued to explore this house with a lararium. The excavations made it possible to open 4 rooms in which various household items of the 1st century AD were preserved. One of the rooms studied was a bedroom that contained the remains of a bed frame and a pillow, the fabric texture of which is still discernible. By its type, the found bed turned out to be identical to those that were discovered last year in the room of slaves. Next to it was a wooden chest left open by the owners, on which beams and boards collapsed from the ceiling. Inside the chest, archaeologists found a ceramic plate made of red unglazed clay, the so-called terra sigillata, and an oil lamp depicting the transformation of Zeus into an eagle. The other room explored was a closet, or something similar. It was the only room with an earthen floor and unplastered walls. In it, the researchers found a shelf with an amphora and a pile of wooden boards, which apparently were intended for various purposes, from making furniture to repairing premises. In a small corridor, archaeologists also found the remains of a 2-meter wooden cabinet, which was damaged by the collapse of the ceiling. Inside, it had at least 5 shelves, which contained small jugs and amphoras, as well as glass plates. The director of the Pompeii Archaeological Park, Gabriel Zugtriegel, noted that the excavated house was not in the most prestigious area of the city, where the representatives of the lower and middle classes lived mainly. So in the courtyard of the studied house, there was a beautifully decorated water storage, but at the same time the rooms themselves looked very modest, which apparently reflects a lack of money for their decor. Star map of Kithor's tomb. The star map was discovered in Kithor's tomb in the village of Asuka in 1998, a site dating from the late 7th to early 8th century, making it the oldest existing star map of its kind in the world. It presents 68 constellations, in which the stars are depicted with the help of golden discs. The movement of celestial objects is also represented as 3 concentric circles with another circle depicting the movement of the sun. In the center is the North Star. An analysis of the digital images showed that the most likely observation sites were those located at the 34th parallel of the North latitude, including the ancient cities of Chanyang and Luoyang. which were the capitals of the Chinese dynasties that ruled in the middle reaches of the Yellow River. Some scholars believe that the sightings were made several hundred years before Kithor's tomb was built. This could be between 240 and 520 AD, while other scholars prefer a time period of 120 to 40 BC. The tomb consists of a small stone chamber just over a meter high, 1 meter wide, and about 2.5 meters long. The walls are oriented to the 4 cardinal directions, and the drawings on them depict the black tortoise of the north, the azure dragon of the east, the red bird of the south, and the white tiger of the west. These images are accompanied by additional zodiac images consisting of human figures with animal heads. The chamber was large enough to bury one person. This man was buried in a lacquered coffin that had been smashed during a tomb robbery, and the pieces were scattered across the floor. The chamber also contains grave goods and fragments of human bones. Artifacts found at the site include gold fittings and parts of a decorated sword. The evidence suggests a middle-aged adult male, probably of aristocratic origin. The discovery of the star chart is currently the subject of much controversy, prompting further discussions about the history of astronomical technology in Japan. Some suggest that such cards were often used for rituals and divination. Who nevertheless created this mysterious artifact in such ancient times remains a mystery. And to learn more about new mysteries of archaeologists, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. Leave your kind comments, which I will definitely read and answer. Thanks for your views. Bye everyone!